we saw the thing.
We saw 3 things.
It's like 3 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time right now.
Yeah.
I have to be in class at 11. I have to go to work after that. I'm just so dead.
You see, she doesn't even like Captain America, and she decided to do this 3-film marathon and do this, on the day before class. So, who has the best wife ever?
You do.
Probably Barack Obama, but it's close second.
No, I've been really tired. I actually had to go home early from a thing I was at to lie in bed, but
yeah,
we did this thing. We did it, and the best part about it, spoilers, was the woman who was sitting next to us.
Yeah, lovely middle-aged woman.
She got like the Mom of the Year award because she had 3 tween kids that she brought. And, like, obviously, like, oh, you guys want to go see this thing, so, okay, I'll bring you.
They were in the row in front of us, and she was beside me.
And she was just the best.
Yeah, so she was asking questions and being interested and stuff.
And then when they got to the big reveal of who the Winter Soldier was, oh, no.
Yes, she was like, no!
She was the only one in the theater that did it. We were like, oh.
Yeah, everyone else had seen it before, because we saw First Avenger, Winter Soldier, and then Civil War.
Oh, yeah, the part where Black Widow's like, was it in Winter Soldier's like, do you want to play a game? Huh, it's because it's in a movie, and like me and only a handful of other people laughed. And she's like, it's from me. He's like, yeah, I saw it. And I said, actually rather loudly, most of the audience hasn't, because I realized that that's how old War Games is.
Yeah.
The only way to win is not to play.
But, it made sense for him to watch War Games, actually, because he wanted to understand the...
Cold War.
Yeah, so it was an accessible way to do it. But, we're going to talk about Civil War. This is not going to be a long vlog, because it's really fucking late.
You have no idea. Like, we bought a pizza to make, but we're not even making that. It's just not even...
And you guys...
I ate so much popcorn.
You guys over in the States, you're not getting it for a week, so we're trying not to spoil too much, because usually we see things after or at the same time, so... Yeah. But the spoiler-free version is... Believe the hype.
It's really good.
It's everything Batman vs. Superman in shame wishes it was.
Remember the Hardcore Harry vlog? Or Hardcore Henry or what? First person in the movie. If you haven't watched that vlog, go watch it because we talk about a lot of really cool stuff like cognitive psychology and shit. But,
yeah.
But, in that vlog I said, why doesn't it feel like people had fun? Why aren't movies fun anymore? Batman v Superman was not fun. This was fun. It was one of the most kick-ass action scenes I've ever seen. It had, I think, 75% of the movie's witty banter in it.
Well, maybe not 75, but yeah, there was
65.
Most of it was pretty dour and stuff because that was made sense. But then the fight in the airport.
Like that line in Hulk. This was a great talk. No, it wasn't.
I didn't really like the no, it wasn't because it sounded very.
I don't care. I thought it was funny.
That's fair enough, but.
Vision's such a creeper.
I like Vision. Vision's in love with Scarlet Witch because it happened in the comics.
But it's creepy because she looks like she's 12. Did you know she was played by the little sister of the Olsens? I had no clue until the taxi ride home. You guys, I'm so tired.
No, her name's Elizabeth Olsen. Give some of us a clue.
I don't know whose names people have. I'm always like, hey, look, it's that guy. You're like, Tommy Lee Jones. I'm like, hi, it's the famous guy. You know, that one.
But, basically, it's not often a film can single-handedly, make you feel that another film company should collectively commit harakiri, just to get things over with, because, they've been dishonored enough, but everyone in charge of the DCCU, really,
Marvel,
please.
The license to print money.
Okay, you guys are going to do Batman vs. Superman, and then Marvel's like Civil War, and they're very similar in story, and then DC blinks and puts theirs out a couple months early.
Why'd you say that name?
Well, your best friend's James McKenna, James as well, oh my god.
That was...
But, DC, you have Batman and Superman, 2 of the biggest superheroes ever. And then they got 2 guys who, until very recently, were B or C list superheroes, and they were supposed to come out on the same day. DC blinked. Marvel, and then Batman vs. Superman came out, was colossally bad.
Aye.
It made a lot of money at the very start, and then it sort of sank away completely, and...
We saw it on the half-price night. You can check out that vlog as well. There's not going to be a reference because we're uploading this tonight, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
That's how we roll.
And then this one comes out, very similar, and not only is it much better, in every single way it's much better. There is a bit in this. Okay, the villain in this is a bit like a hybrid between 2 characters from Batman vs. Superman, melded together, and done competently. They even took 2 of the characters from Batman vs. Superman, put them together, and made it better.
Like, literally, like, one guy is from the other movie, like, not his character, just the actor.
Yeah, and DC, just please stop.
So, what did we like? I made some pretty good jokes. I said that the first person that Project Insight was gonna blast from the sky and obliterate their DNA was Miles Teller. Even though he wasn't responsible for
I think that's, very, very
Mr.
logical.
Fantastic. No, but it was good. I liked Ant-Man showing up. I have to say that I don't like Spider-Man. You've heard my views on Spider-Man before. Even when I have to play Lego Marvel, I'm like, shut up, Peter. Shut up,
He's
Peter.
He's useful in Lego Marvel, though.
Ugh. But the actor who's cast as him does sell him. I don't know if I'm going to see his movie, but he does sell him, and he looks a wee bit like my cousin.
Yeah,
So,
Spider-Man was good. I was firmly in the camp of just bring Andrew Garfield back because he was fine. This guy was good too, although I do not like the spider suit. It's better than it was in the trailer, but
I like his eyes like narrow and widen like automatically.
I like that, yeah, because that's in the
who's
comic.
controlling that?
Well, he is probably with subconscious sensors, whatever. It's like Deadpool's eye. Deadpool's eyes were ripped off of Spider-Man's. The expressive sort of thing that was done in the comics.
I thought that was just like a stylistic thing.
In the comics, Spider-Man did it, and he was the only one who did it. And then
No, it only takes a few minutes to be a hero.
And then the Tick did it too, but Deadpool, they ripped off Spider-Man's eyes but
controversial opinion. I never liked the Tick. I thought it was weird and meta.
Yeah, I do not like the Spider-Man costume. It looks just like the live-action 70s Spider-Man costume, and so I'll take
that kind of noise was.
I'll take the Tobey Maguire suit or either of the Amazing Spider-Man suits, and preferably the first one, because even though it looked like it was made out of basketballs, I quite like that because it was different. But this one is just like, it's the live-action one that was set in L.A. where he fought ninjas all the time.
Yeah, but it was made by Tony Stark, and maybe he liked that show. You don't know. And it's okay. Is him and Pepper being separated only a thing because they couldn't get what's her face for the movie, or did that happen in the comic?
In the comics, she's married to Happy Hogan.
What the fuck is that?
Tony Stark's chauffeur, who was the director of Iron Man and became his head of security in Iron Man 3.
Oh, whatever.
You know, Jon Favreau's character.
Oh.
So yeah, Pepper Potts never actually ended up with Iron Man. I don't think so. Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong.
This needed a Bruce Campbell cameo.
That would have been funny.
Yeah, we got to hit. I'm like, where's Stanley? What else is good without being spoiler? I like
everything
did a good job. It
although I didn't,
well.
I didn't like the Ant-Man costume update so much. Like because the original Ant-Man costume was 60s tech. Basically, they added digital stuff to be able to do other things, which makes sense. But the redesign of the helmet, it looked a bit goofy. Preferred the other one.
But it was really good. It was really fun. You're gonna go see it. You owe it to yourself. So I enjoyed it. I still am firmly on Iron Man's side. I think Captain America overreacted. And I think that he's like, I must take a stand regardless of anything else, regardless of things that make sense.
I
incidentally happen to be kind of right, but then still I'm going to be an asshole about it anyway.
I can think of one flaw, which I would not be surprised if this was addressed in a deleted scene.
Mm-hmm.
No one at any point pointed out that Hawkeye was mind-controlled for half of the Avengers and killed people. And no one had any problems with it, and everyone was like, oh, Hawkeye, you're our friend, you're not going to jail. And then suddenly it's Winter Soldier, and things are different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you kill someone that Iron Man cares about, oh, now you're in trouble. So, double standard.
Well, I think it was like the first Avengers level crisis.
Yeah, but he was still mind-controlled.
Oh, and you know what because I only saw Winter Soldier for the first time tonight, that Zola's,
Arnim Zola was the guy for the first two.
Zola was the professor that we had when one of the classes we went to Germany, so that's why I'm getting confused. He's like, oh, he has this algorithm. I'm like, wait a second. That's the discipline of psychohistory from Isaac Asimov's The Foundation novels. Read them if you haven't. They're really good.
Apparently, there were two big changes they made during Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. Sorry, three big changes, which were in the original draft, which were cut out. One, the villain was meant to be Helmut Zemo, who was the villain from the third one.
Every time I said his name, I thought of Zima the drink, and I'm like, I love Zima. I'm so sad it went away.
It was supposed to be him, because if I remember correctly, Zemo is actually usually in Hydra, or the Masters of Evil or something. He's not usually just this guy. That's actually a villain team in Marvel.
It was me, the Master of Evil.
And then later on, he set up the Marvel version of the Suicide Squad, which was called Thunderbolts, where a bunch of villains decided to pretend to be heroes to get everyone on their side. No, they literally created new identities and became a new superhero team.
It's not me, the bad guy.
Yeah, basically they did that for like years, and then they finally revealed that they were evil and tried to take over the world. But then half of them had decided to be good after that, because they're like, we like being adulated. It's great.
Yeah, people think we're great.
But I think he was originally meant to be the villain in Thing, but then they said that was, a German guy who's actually in Hydra. That's a bit too obvious.
See, you know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of them trying to make Tony Stark come off like a bad guy whenever he does good things. Like, all right, spoiler. So he's like addressing, like, even the keynote speech at MIT, and he's like, and he shows him this great new technology that was like, he funded, that himself did, and he was like, oh, it was grand, but you know what? Nobody gave me money. I had to use my own. So guess what? All of your projects are funded. They're just funded. No strings attached. You all have grants. They're like, yes. They're like, he's like, go out and change the world. It's grand. They're like, oh my god, this is great. And then there's this woman who's like, you killed my son in Sokovia?
Sokovia.
Whatever.
That woman.
And made up a stand. And then you're supposed to be like, oh, Tony Stark's so evil. I'm like, how come every time, even when Robert Downey Jr. does something good in real life,
it was Tony's fault. He created Ultron in that movie. In
yeah,
the comics,
but like
this
has been a reoccurring thing. And maybe I'm just annoyed because like Robert Downey Jr. played Tony Stark, giving a bionic arm to a small child, and then people were bitching about it. Like, yeah, but a private company made that. Like, well, he still gave him. This famous actor took time out of his schedule to.
The big difference there is, honey, that Robert Downey Jr. didn't cost the kid his arm first.
I know. I'm just sick of Tony Stark. I think people are too hard on Tony Stark. And he has anxiety.
Oh, by the way, we saw really young Tony Stark in flashback using some of the witchcraft from Ant-Man, they used for Michael Douglas.
And
I was like, I've seen Weird Science, and that is a good recreation of young Robert Downey Jr. But, okay, the other two things from Winter Soldier that were changed.
I'm sad that Hawkeye and Black Widow had to fight. They're friends.
They're friends again. But
he's in prison.
No, Captain America. Oh, spoiler.
Nothing.
Don't worry, it's fine.
It's fine. Sure, will be grand.
The other two things from Winter Soldier. One was originally they were going to show that Zola his consciousness had escaped in a robotic body, because in the comic book, he's in a robotic body like that.
That's the stupidest thing ever.
And I'm kind of sad they didn't do that, because he was already in a computer. Why not give him a robot? Well, it's just he steals an Iron Man suit and he becomes sentient in it. It's so logical. And the other thing was Hawkeye was meant to have a cameo where he fought Captain America and then decided, no, Cap's a good guy, and he decided to leave and become a conscientious objector or something.
Oh. I guess.
But Civil War is really good. Yeah. You were freaked out by how young Aunt May is. She's
like a cougar now. She was all like, hello, Robert Downey Jr. And I'm like, why? I thought she was like this old lady who bakes cookies and like...
In the comics.
I don't like it that she's like, Miss 45-year-old cougar.
A recurring joke in Marvel Comics until Aunt May died in the comics was that she would never die. Because for a bit, they had this comic line, which was 2099, which was characters recreated in the for 100 years hence. And so you had descendants of people like Spider-Man 2099. It's a different guy called Miguel O'Hara who gets Spider-Man-ish powers, and it's like dystopian future. One of the ideas for a joke version of this was Aunt May 2099. It's just a picture of Aunt May still old and looking like a little old lady, and it's like, what, you thought she'd die? Because she's clearly always an old lady. But then she did die, unfortunately. But yeah, every time they cast her, she gets younger. So in like 2 or 3 reboots time, she's gonna be she will. What was that, Aunt May? She's gonna be like, put his head into the mother's stomach, be like, find out what Aunt May wants.
But yeah, no, it was really good.
I just had an idea for a really terrible joke about involving Uncle Ben and Aunt May there, and I do not want to voice it. It is just so terrible and horrible.
Does it involve rice?
No, it involves the only way that they can have sex before he dies is by him having sex with Aunt May's mother.
That's really horrible.
Why like I said.
I can't share this on Facebook.
You requested me saying it.
Well, but yeah, no, you're going to go see it. You're going to love it. I hope you help this make $2 billion. Literally, the Brunswick cleaned up. I mean,
we had 5 screens at least that were playing it tonight.
But only one screen was doing the triple bill. Mm-hmm. The other 4 were just doing the midnight release. And I mean, like, they must have cleaned up, because, I mean, we made tacos before we went, but then we bought, 2 tons of popcorn.
Yeah, ice cream and 3 drinks.
Yeah, well, I got 2, I got 2 bottles of water, but yeah. So, no, totally go see it. You'll have fun. We had a blast. It's really good. It hasn't really, I mean, I guess the first 2 movies kind of changed my opinion a wee bit, but I will say this.
You could see where he was coming from a bit more.
But, what really depressed me, and I mean seriously depressed me during the first movie, was the musical number, because And I had this moment, you know, you have I call them movie moments. Kind of you disassociate a wee bit. You kind of like step outside of your own not perception, but you have a third person perception of the situation for just a fraction of a second. It's called disassociation. It can actually be cool, but you shouldn't do it too much. It might be a sign of mental illness. But I saw, you know, myself, and I'm watching this in a small town in a small country in Europe. I mean, the UK is not small, but Northern Ireland is. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
And, like, the thing is that you guys don't understand. You know, like, we have all these, as Americans, we have all these high ideals. We want to say, oh, well, our country was founded on this, and we build our land on this. But we forgot the fact that, like, we're human, too. And, like, any human society, you know, we will do good things and bad things. But, like, to see that ideal... We want that. We want that to be true so bad. We want to harken back. Remember we, you know, came and just kicked all the evil out of Europe and we were the good guys and we saved the day and we were all those countries that said 200 years ago that we were shit and we'd, you know, fail. Like, we really want to embody what Captain America is, and so many people who so do the opposite believe that they do. It's cognitive dissonance on a cultural level, and it's sad. It's sad because, like, I was raised in that culture. I was raised, you know, in the liberal East Coast, you know, every morning stand up, put your hand over your heart, say the Pledge of Allegiance, stand up at, you know, the baseball game, and or if you're watching it on TV, you know, and sing the national anthem. And, like, I was told that, well, we, you know, we are the keepers of goodness and truth and justice, and we are free, and we, you know, we help other people. And seeing that, this big musical number, it just was so, I don't know, so soul-crushing. And I think that's one of the things...
The cultural difference is we don't take that seriously because we're like, America.
Right, but like...
We see through it.
The thing is that just made me so sad. I think that's what I dislike about the character, because he really is like, has the goodness in him amped up by the super serum, but like, no one's like that. And I think that's why
it's the super serum.
Well, I know, but I think that's why I identify more with Tony Stark, because he's like, with his anxiety disorder, and, you know, where's my smartphone, and Jesus Christ, I'm late, I need to pour a latte or take a paracetamol or something. Like, because he's really, really, really flawed on the inside, because here's the thing, we're all like that.
I take the view that Tony Stark is monstrous.
Well, but the thing is that Tony Stark is a perfect example, because... There's this thing called imposter syndrome. Google it. It's really interesting, actually, because apparently a lot of you suffer from it. I know that I do. It's that idea that, like, you have no fucking clue what you're doing. You're just a little kid, and you're just going through the motions of adult life, and one of these days, someone's going to figure it out and call you on your bullshit. And they're going to say, you're just this flawed person, who've been fooling people all this time, and a lot of people deal with this. A lot of people. Until I heard of it on the internet, in a psychology forum, I thought I was the only one. But Tony Stark is that embodiment of imposter syndrome. He's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Alright, let's go for it. I fucked up and now things are bad and I'll try to fix it. But you know that Captain America always speaks from a place of confidence. Because, you know, he was the imposter when he was, you know, the wee 90-pound asthmatic weakling. Now he has the body and, like... the ability to do what he always wanted to do, and he's confident in that.
Yeah.
And so few people are. So few people have the ability to do that. I just, like I said, it just makes me sad on a cultural and nationalistic level, and I just identify with Tony Stark.
That's fine.
Because of his brokenness.
That's fine.
Suck it, DC. So we can't always be big superheroes saving off people's cats out of trees, can we? I'm just saying.
It's really, really sad that in this film, not only is it better than Batman vs. Superman, it was a better Batman vs. Superman film than the other one. Because we've got the ultra, you know, really strong, powerful sort of guy who's always, you know, always right and, you know, into truth and justice and stuff, and against the rich guy who uses his intelligence and gadgets and is really annoyed about the death of his parents.
Yeah, but the thing is that, like, you had him, like, you know, he finds out a pivotal thing and he's like, ugh.
I already spoiled that.
Actually, well, no, I think that got spoiled in the trailer because he said
the death, and plus, if you saw Winter Soldier, you know who killed his parents.
It's like, kill my parents. No, and it was really like intense. It wasn't like, why did you say that name?
But yeah, this is not just a better film, it's a better Batman versus Superman film, which is really hard to do. You know, it's not just making a better genre film, it's literally making the same film, but better. It's like, DC, just stop. Please.
So
It's
I
just
think what
sad.
this comes down to is you need to go see this movie, which you can't until next week. And what's next? It's Doctor Strange. When's that coming out?
October over here, I think.
It's a long time.
We're getting it earlier in America.
Kind of probably gonna go see the Warcraft movie that's coming out the end of May. It looks interesting. I mean, I played Warcraft for like a week and a half, so.
I'll probably go to see it, but I'm not looking impressed. It looks like a video game.
Well, it just looks
ironically.
Like, you know what? Let's go see it on a half price night. It looks like the kind of like. I'm satisfied if a movie's at least entertaining.
What did you think of the differences between the two Howard Starks? Because they play John Slattery plays him when he's old, and Dominic Cooper, I think his name is, plays him when he's young.
He looks like he got taller in his old age.
That's
Kind of
true.
does. And I'm like, well, they deserve to die in a car wreck for driving a big old boat car like that. It was 1991, for Christ's sake. There was Toyota sedans. You could afford one.
He became more sort of conservative in his old age. Apparently, after Tony Stark was born, he became much more reserved. And apparently, the idea behind the creators is that he figured out something was up with Shield, and he was trying to keep Tony at his arm's length and sort of make him think that he didn't love him and all, to try and keep him safe.
That works. I liked the one interaction between Ant-Man and Tony Stark.
Oh, it was awesome.
I won't spoil it because it's just a funny line. You'll just like it. I mean, everyone had a.
I'm your conscience.
I thought the John Cheadle was a wee bit wasted.
Yeah, I'm really sad that. Okay, after that would be spoilers. We were trying
like
not to spoil.
He looked really thin. Like he looked like he'd come off some other movie where he had to play someone down on his luck and disadvantage because he looked old and thin. And he didn't have like that Avengers look about him. And I don't know. I just kind of think he was a wee bit wasted.
Just to give you, so your reaction can be on camera. You know, Falcon in the comic, he's literally a guy who's got feathered wings on his under his arms, and he uses them to fly, and usually wears like a waistcoat and stuff. And instead of having a drone that flies around, he has a literal falcon that he can, you know, telepathically talk to.
That's well stupid.
As you can see, they made it slightly better for the film.
Yeah. I like better that he's like a vet, and he's like, don't worry, PTSD vets, I'll talk to you. But I liked his little drone because it reminded me of oh shit, what was that Transformer? The Decepticon with the tapes.
Soundwave.
Thank you. I wanted to say Soundwave, but I was afraid it was wrong. His bird and his dog.
But yeah, this was really good, and
you'll enjoy it. Eat the popcorn, get some ice cream. We got Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, and although it is a bit creepy that, unlike in the comics, when Captain America maybe will end up with Peggy Carter's great niece, it's just like that's incest by proxy.
Yeah, but he was attracted to her before he knew that she was her.
I know, but it's still a bit.
Yeah, like when they there's a moment that they share, and I'm like, that's got to be weird.
That's incest by proxy.
It's not incest.
By proxy. It's like
there's no way that they're related.
He is the one degree of separation between the two. That's what I'm saying by proxy.
Well, I disagree with you. I don't think it's incestuous. I just think it's creepy. Just saying. But yeah.
You know the English guy in the Howling Commandos?
And Martin Freeman was in it with a bad American accent.
Yeah, almost as bad as Sherlock Holmes is in Doctor Strange. Sorry, Dr. House's. It sounds like House.
He does not.
They get a very similar sort of accent. It's just English guy tries to do American accent.
They might be friends though. Him, Benedict Cumberbatch and
Hugh Laurie.
Yeah, I can think.
They might, but I think it's just a case of English accents. The closest one is the. Someone online actually explained what kind of accent that is. It's not just a quote unquote generic American one. Apparently, it's a Nebraska accent.
It just sounds weird. It sounds off to me. I come from the East Coast, and we have very colorful accents there. So I guess I don't know.
But I was gonna reveal something terrible.
What?
Oh, I forgot what it was.
Did Falcon have feathers?
No, I revealed that one already.
Oh.
There was something else, and I have forgotten what it is. But oh yes, the Howling Commandos.
Yeah.
At the start, they were all friends with Nick Fury in the comic because he was a World War II vet originally, and he used a version of the super soldier serum to keep himself young. But the English guy in it is meant to be. They officially called him Montgomery Falsworth. Montgomery Falsworth was Union Jack.
Jack,
the superhero, who was a World War One version of Captain America, but British, but he didn't have any superpowers or anything. He was literally a guy.
He was just that English.
He was just a guy. He was basically an aristocratic English super secret agent ninja.
I think if you sent a message on Twitter, you could probably convince Filmbrain to cosplay as Union Jack. I mean, I don't think this at all, but I think you should still do it anyway.
But in Union Jack in the comic, he died during World War II because he decided to come out of retirement. He was like 60 or 70, and he died in combat.
Tell me he died like the Colonel in Hardcore Henry.
I have no idea.
That'd be so great.
But,
Don't.
But his son then took over as Union Jack, and I'm guessing that if it is, although his son was called John Falsworth and not Montgomery, so they used the name of the first one, but I'm convinced that the English guy in the Howling Commandos is actually the second Union Jack before he became Union Jack. If you look at his uniform, he's even wearing a Union Jack, but it's with like bullet things. They've made it look like Union Jack. So this is. If it is,
will we see a Union Jack movie? Probably not.
Probably not. But you know
would
what?
Would it involve tea? Yeah, probably a shit ton.
But you know what would be cool?
They can get Professor Elemental to play him. What?
A BBC-made period miniseries working with Marvel.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. I'd watch that. BBC take note. Well, they're not going to because they have no funding now, so they can get Netflix.
Plus BBC, plus Union Jack.
They could just use all the sets from Go Fetch the Midwife.
Yeah, because BBC is really good at period pieces.
No, it's called The Midwife.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Or Downton Abbey.
Go Fetch the Midwife is close.
You know, UK does period very well, so they could do that. But
because they still all have all the buildings and all of the clothing around and the accents.
But the interesting thing about Union Jack, and if you're doing a miniseries, you could do this. If you do a film, probably not, because it confuses it. But his main enemies he fights are World War I German vampires.
That's a little silly.
Who are led by his younger brother, Baron Blood. Which is the nickname.
Talk about it anymore.
But if that is Union Jack and they stick to the comics, that means that character died in the 70s in a car crash and was gay.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's been almost a 20-hour day for me.
Yeah.
I tried to sleep earlier and I could not.
So let's wrap it up.
Go see it. You owe it to yourself to do it. You know that you will already. You know that you're gonna love it. You know that you're gonna get in fights about it on the internet, so go to it. Get started now.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.